You wake up one morning. The house is silent. The coffee's gone cold. No footsteps, no good morning hugs. Just you and that heavy silence. Every tick of the clock seems louder now. The walls of your home feel both too close and too far away at the same time. Photos on the mantel smile back at you, but their voices are missing from your days. But what if I told you there's still a way to turn this quiet into something beautiful? What if loneliness isn't the final chapter, but just a difficult page that needs turning? If you're new here, this is Golden Heart Advice, where we talk about life after 60, with honesty, a touch of humor, and a lot of heart. Feel free to subscribe and join our warm community. 1. When love leaves you alone. The day everything changed. The day I knew I was truly alone didn't come with a bang. It came in the quiet, a long, aching quiet that wrapped itself around the house and refused to let go. It had been years since my wife passed. Cancer, we fought hard. But after the funeral, after the casseroles stopped coming and people went back to their lives, I was left with her favorite chair and silence. My son moved 2 states away after his promotion. My daughter's busy raising twins. I don't blame them. Life pulls people in different directions. I told myself, it's normal. Everyone's busy. This is just what aging looks like. But one evening, it finally caught up with me. I had just heated up some leftover stew, sat down to eat. The TV was off. The light above the table flickered a little, but I didn't bother fixing it. I lifted my spoon but stopped halfway. It hit me. No one else was coming. No one to ask how my day went. No one to pass the salt to. No one to say, "That smells good, Dad." Just me, a spoon, and the sound of the clock ticking in the next room. It was like the air itself got heavier. The silence didn't just fill the room, it pressed against my chest. That kind of silence doesn't just say, "You're alone." It says, "You might always be." I pushed the bowl away and sat back. My eyes wandered to the family photo on the wall. We were all younger then, full of noise and birthdays and plans. Have you ever felt like the world kept spinning, but somehow left you behind? That night I didn't sleep much. I stared at the ceiling until morning. Something inside me had shifted. The grief wasn't new, but this was different. This was the moment I realized I had to make a choice. Let the silence define me or figure out what life could still hold, even now. That night I asked myself, is this all there is now? And somewhere in the quiet I whispered back, no, not yet. 2. The dangerous comfort of doing nothing. After that long, quiet night, I thought maybe things would shift on their own, that some spark would come back. But it didn't. The days began to blur together. I'd wake up late. No alarm, no real reason to get up early. I'd shuffle to the kitchen, fix a plain breakfast, and sit at the same table with the same view out the window, watching leaves move but not much else. I kept the TV on most of the time, not because I was watching, but because it made the house feel less empty. A cooking show, a rerun of a game I'd already seen, just background noise to drown out the real silence. Some days I wouldn't step outside at all. I told myself the weather wasn't right, or my knee hurt, or there was nothing to do anyway. But if I'm honest, I was just stuck. Retirement had come quietly like a soft wind, closing a door behind me. And before I realized it, I had slowly started building a wall between me and the world, not out of anger, not even sadness, just habit. You stop calling people back, you stop making coffee for 2, you stop putting on shoes unless you have to. And bit by bit, the world shrinks down to your favorite chair, the remote, and the same 4 walls. The strange thing is, it doesn't feel painful at first. It feels comfortable, predictable, safe. But comfort can be dangerous because underneath that quiet routine, loneliness begins to take root. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that seeps in silently, like a slow fog. And one day, you look around and realize you've been hiding from your own life. That realization hit me when I opened the fridge one morning and saw it almost empty. Not because I'd forgotten to shop, but because I just didn't care enough to cook anymore. What's one small thing you stopped doing that used to bring you joy? For me, it was cooking real meals, playing music in the background, slicing fresh tomatoes, not just opening cans. When did I stop? I couldn't remember. But that week, something shifted. A knock on the door broke the pattern. My neighbor Bill dropped by with leftover pie and a smile. And that moment reminded me, connection doesn't start big. It starts with a knock. 3. Tiny steps toward a bigger life. After that knock on the door, I realized I couldn't keep doing nothing and expect things to change. The world wasn't going to come find me. I had to step outside and meet it halfway. So the next morning, I got dressed. Not just the usual sweatpants, real pants with a belt. I even shaved. Then I walked to the park. It wasn't far, just a few blocks, but it felt like traveling to a new place. The air was crisp. Kids were playing on the swings. I saw 2 women doing Tai Chi under a tree. I nodded. They smiled. And just like that, I felt something flicker inside, something I hadn't felt in a while. Presence. The next day, I walked a little further. The day after that, I stopped by the senior center near the library. There was a bulletin board full of flyers. One said, Chess Club, Wednesdays at 5. I hadn't played in years, but I took a picture of it anyway. That Wednesday I went, lost every match, but I laughed harder than I had in months. You see, loneliness doesn't leave all at once. It sneaks out slowly, one smile, one shared story, one handshake at a time. None of it happened overnight. I still had days where I didn't want to get up, where the silence felt loud again. But those tiny steps, those simple moments of human contact, they were like breadcrumbs leading me back to myself. If this sounds hard to you, it's okay. I get it. I nearly turned back 3 times before walking into that chess club. But here's what I've learned. Joy doesn't knock twice unless you open the door the first time. 4. A new companion, a new chapter. Her name was Ellen. We met at the community center, both reaching for the same lemon muffin. She smiled, I offered it, and she broke it in half. That was her way. We didn't fall in love at first sight. We fell into rhythm. She told me about her garden. I told her about my failed attempt at baking banana bread. We started chatting weekly, then more often. Eventually, we'd walk together after Tai Chi or split a sandwich at the cafe down the street. We weren't looking for romance, we were looking for company. For comfort in the small things, reading quietly on the same couch, debating which movie to watch, complaining about rising grocery prices. We didn't wear rings, but we knew what we had. It wasn't young love, it was seasoned companionship, the kind that comes from 2 people who know what it means to lose and still choose to show up. For a long time, I felt guilty even thinking about someone new, as if loving again somehow erased the past. But one afternoon, Ellen placed her hand over mine and said, "You're not replacing anyone, you're remembering how to live." She was right. Would you ever open your heart again, even after loss? It's a hard question. I wrestled with it too. But here's what I've come to believe. Loving again doesn't mean forgetting. It means healing with company. 5. When you're needed elsewhere. Letting go again. Life has a way of giving you just enough warmth to feel safe, then reminding you that nothing stays the same. Ellen's son called one afternoon. He was getting married out in Oregon, and asked if she could come live with him for a while, help plan the wedding, help settle into his new house, close just for a season. I saw the look in her eyes, hopeful but torn. She didn't want to leave me. I didn't want her to go, but I smiled anyway. That kind of smile you give when your heart sinks, but your love won't let you be selfish. That's wonderful news, I said. He needs you. She nodded, but her voice was quiet. What about you? I shrugged, trying to seem light. I'll be just fine. You've taught me how to make decent tea. Inside, it echoed. The day she left, I drove her to the station. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. When she stepped onto the bus, I kept smiling until the doors closed. Then I sat in the car for a long time. The silence crept back in, familiar but sharper this time, because I knew exactly what I was missing. But here's the thing, this time I didn't fall apart. I didn't let the quiet drag me back under. I didn't stop walking or showing up at the chess club or trimming the little rose bush by my porch. Yes, I missed her, still do. But I understood something I didn't before. When people you love have to go, whether for a while or forever, they don't take your peace with them. Not if you've learned how to carry it on your own. This time, I decided not to fall back. I looked forward. 6. Assisted living isn't giving up, it's taking charge. A few months later, I started to feel the weight of everything again. My joints ached more. I caught a cold that lingered too long. And one night, while reaching for the phone, I thought, what if this had been worse? What if no one answered? That's when I started researching senior living communities. Just browsing at first, then visiting, then asking real questions. I had always thought of those places as endings. Quiet halls, sad music, people just waiting. But what I found surprised me. There were gardens, walking groups, chess matches, even karaoke nights. There were people laughing over coffee, staff who remembered your name and how you take your tea, and meals, real meals, served with warm bread and fresh greens. I met George, a retired history teacher who'd just started painting. Never held a brush in my life, he said, but I figured, why not? We shared lunch the next day. I moved in not because I had to, but because I chose to. It wasn't giving up. It was taking charge of my health, my safety, my loneliness, of what remained of my good years. You're not weak for asking for help. You're wise, and you deserve to live where people notice when you don't show up for breakfast. Ever considered senior living? You're not alone, and that's the point. 7. The person who'll never leave you is you. One quiet evening, I stood in front of the mirror. The house was calm, the kind of calm that used to scare me, but this time, it felt different. I looked at my reflection, the lines around my eyes, the silver in my beard, the weight of all the years behind me, and I said it out loud, you've got you. You always have. You always will. It wasn't defiance. It wasn't bitterness. It was truth. Steady, simple, freeing. I thought of Ellen then, the way she used to remind me to drink more water, the way she squeezed my hand when words ran out, the last thing she ever said to me just before the door closed behind her. Live well. I carry that with me now, not like a wound, but like a compass. Because aging isn't just about letting go, it's about remembering what stays, your voice, your choices, your capacity to feel joy even after loss. You are your longest companion, and maybe your best one. So take yourself to the park. Learn something new. Eat that muffin slowly. Send the letter you've been meaning to write. Don't wait for the world to bring you connection. You are part of the world. You're still here, and you matter. Aging alone doesn't mean living lonely. Whether it's your neighbor, your chess buddy, or your own reflection, connection begins with you. If this story brought you comfort or reminded you of someone who might need a little light today, we hope you'll share it. Here at Golden Heart Advice, we believe every chapter of life deserves to be lived fully, gently, and with heart. Subscribe if you'd like to walk with us again. Until next time, take care and live well.